Hey everybody, this is David. I'm doing a reaction video for Cloudy Milder's 10th album by Bands. Um, Two things. I am actually using my own phone. I usually use my wife's phone, so I have to do everything kind of with a mirror on the other side to see if I'm actually in the shot because my phone is stupid and it doesn't reverse the image. So everything you would have seen would have been backwards text, and the video quality with my selfie video is shit. So, couple things I want to talk about are the albums that I thought I had stuff by, but I'm just missing them by a few. Gary Moore. I am missing one or two of the blues albums, so I couldn't do that. Scorpions. I am missing In Trance. How do I not have In Trance? So I couldn't have them. Night Ranger. Feeding Off the Mojo. I don't have, so I couldn't get to 10. Queensryche. I don't have Operation Mindcrime 2, nor Mindcrime 2, nor will I ever have that album because it sucks so bad. Um, and I don't have the very first David Bowie thing. Um, Other things that probably would surprise people, maybe Rolling Stones, The Gathering, um, Motorhead. I'm missing like their third album. Actually, I'm kind of spotty. I decided to be more picky with Motorhead. And I didn't include the Beatles because there's so many different versions of their albums, and I'm not even sure, do they have 10 albums, 10 studio albums? I think they do. But so this is what I do have, the 10th CD by each of these bands. So I have CD number 1 all the way through 10. I went and I looked on Wikipedia discography for studio albums, skipping EPs and live things. So first one, and I was gonna say I was at first going to do just metal because that's usually what a lot of people are into, but I thought I'm gonna go from my prog rock collection all the way through my R&B, um, through classic rock and folk rock, through hair metal and everything. So, without further ado, first one, Gentle Giant, Giant for a Day. This is not one of their best albums, but because I love Gentle Giant, I had to get it. I'm actually missing the album after this, which is called Civilian. So I do not have the whole Gentle Giant discography because that one is really expensive. Duke by Genesis. This is the era where I don't really know a lot of stuff, but because I'm a completist with Genesis, actually I have 3 copies of each of the Peter Gabriel albums except for, what is it? Genesis to Revelations and Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Jethro Tull, Songs from the Wood. I gave my buddy Mike the regular CD version of it, which I have been keeping those now just because they're easier to deal with than these, and I already have them. But yeah, this is like the 4-disc, no, 3 discs and DVD. Yeah, so 4 discs version. King Crimson, Three of a Perfect Pair. This was an album that by this time, this lineup had kind of run its course, and I know Robert Fripp said if he could, they would have ended with Discipline, but this is still good. Three of a Perfect Pair is on here, Sleepless, Lark's Tongue and Aspic 3, and the song Dig Me, which has the line, dig me, but don't bury me. This is a band that probably most of you have not heard of. It is Magma, and let's see if there's an easier booklet to show you. I don't know if that looks any better. I can't really tell because I am looking at a mirror over there to see if I'm even in the shot. Magma are a very, very obscure Zool band, which is like a form of progressive rock and jazz and stuff like that, and classical all put together. If you haven't heard these guys, I would check out probably Attack or Attack, but it looks like Attack with an H. Marillion's Radiation. This is the 2-disc version, the original mix by Steve Every and the new mix by Michael Hunter. Apparently, they were not satisfied with the original mix. It's kind of cool. It has this booklet, you know, and then the kind of a book shape thing. Pink Floyd, Animals. This really doesn't need any more stuff. The funny thing is, for a long time I did not like Pink Floyd, but they were one of the bands that I gave like a second chance to, and yeah, I got into them again through David Gilmour's first solo album. Rush, Grace Under Pressure. I love this album. Side 1, if you had listened to it on vinyl, Distant Early Warning, After Image, Red Sector A, and Enemy Within, that is a perfect side for an album. First 4 songs are just amazing. Between the Wheels is also great, but Body Electric, Kid Gloves, and Red Lens kind of bring it down a little bit. But oh my God, they were so awesome in this era, and that was 1984. Oh God, so good. Another kind of obscure band, Vandergraaf Generator. This had Peter Hammill. Oh, and that's another thing that I forgot. I have all the Peter Hammill CDs upstairs, and I do have the first 10 of his, but I forgot about them. This is called Trisector. This is when they turned into a trio, and this one actually came out in 2008. Considering their first album was early 70s, maybe even late 80s, or late 60s, sorry. Yes, Drama, which is funny that it's the 10th one, because this is one of my favorite albums because John Anderson is not on it. John Anderson, I think, is the weak link of Yes, because I'm not a big fan of his voice. Trevor Horn sang on this, and you might know Trevor Horn from The Buggles, who did Video Killed the Radio Star. I'm hoping you guys can see that without too much glare. So that's all the prog, and then there was only one that I had all the way through 10, and that would be Sly and the Family Stone. This is called Back on the Right Track. Not one of his best albums, but not too bad. Earlier stuff, and actually post, like, when Larry Graham left and stuff, is awesome, but I wish I could get rid of that glare. Hey, maybe there, no. There we go. But yeah, Sly and the Family Stone are awesome. Then I went through like things like Allman Brothers. I did not, I'm missing a couple, which I almost got recently. But Heart, I have the first 10 albums of Heart. Then it kind of gets sporadic after that. Journey. Recently didn't have the first 10, but Raised on the Radio I found, I think, for $1. So then I already had Trial by Fire, which I don't know if they ever did the remaster of that. This next band is a band that everyone should own the first 10 albums of, or the whole discography of, but unfortunately, album number 10 is Hot Space. And I don't know, Queen, Disco-y Queen, I love the game, but this album has, it's hard to get through. You really have to be in a Queen mood. At least they put Under Pressure as the last song, so, you know, I don't know where I'm looking at either. Sorry, everybody. I'll try to look at the camera more. Springsteen. If you've seen recent videos, you know that I'm a huge Springsteen fan. I've had a few phases with Springsteen. Back in '95, I had all the stuff up to then. and then I sold a lot of it. I had vinyl of everything at one point too, and then I just got rid of it. But Lucky Town is not one of his best, but still, you gotta have it. Thin Lizzy, Chinatown. This is the one right after their best album, in my opinion, and that would be Black Rose. I love Black Rose, but Chinatown is good. Snowy White is on here. We Will Be Strong is the first track. Just awesome. Just awesome. I'm trying to keep the other stack out. Well, here's where we get to the metal. Wait. Shoot, I forgot. I do have the first 10 Tragically Hip albums. World Container. I just can't reach it right now, and I'm not going to jump out of the screen. So I missed one. Tragically Hip, World Container. Produced, the first of 2 albums, produced by Bob Rock with them. And, oh my god, it's so good. So good. Now we're on to metal. Enslaved. For some reason, I have every Enslaved album, even though later ones kind of just start sounding the same. But the mid-period stuff is awesome because it's very proggy. Black Sabbath. I'm not a big fan of Ronnie James Dio, but I figured I might as well have all the Sabbath stuff that I can get. When it gets into the Tony Martin stuff, I kind of start losing interest after the Headless Cross. I have seen Cross Purposes, but it was like $10, and I'm like, I'm not paying $10 for Cross Purposes. It wasn't that great. Or Tear or whatever. Those end up being really expensive. I luckily got Headless Cross for cheap. But Mob Rules, the funny thing is, Mob Rules is one of my favorite songs with Dio singing. So, singing with Black Sabbath, I should say. Little band known as Dream Theater. Yep, I have everything. The first album is still my favorite. This is the last album with Mike Portnoy. Has a song called Nightmare to Remember, and it has like a really kind of, I don't know, kind of a lame version of a blast beat. I would have loved to see what Derek Roddy did in his audition video that they did with all those drummers. And there's like crazy, like Biohazard-y kind of rough vocals that Mike Portnoy did. Luckily, they didn't let him do that too much because that was stupid. The whole album also comes with a third disc that's instrumental mixes of the thing, which I kind of find insulting to James LaBrie. Even though I don't think he's that great of a singer, I think, show your singer some respect and not have an instrumental version of it. Are they better without Portnoy? Probably not. Mike Mangini, I think, is a great drummer. I don't know. I can't stand watching him play. Everything makes me think, God, my arms are sore just by watching him. Fates Warning, FWX. This actually tells me it's Fates Warning 10, so that's awesome. I wish the album was as great. It has some great things like Simple Human and Another Perfect Day, but this was kind of like the end period where Mark Zonder was playing drums with them, and it's good, but it's not one of their greatest. Perfect Symmetry is the best. Flotsam and Jetsam. I still think they are putting out fantastic albums. They now have Ken Mary playing drums with them. On this one, I can't remember who played drums. Let's see. Oh, it's Craig Nelson. They've had some lineup changes recently. The original drummer came back, and they did an album with him. But then they had Jason Bittner, I think his name is. And now Ken Mary's in the band. I want to say they have a new album with him coming out. I'm not the hugest Iron Maiden fan, but I still have everything. This one and No Prayer for the Dying, I had to actually double check to make sure I actually even had these damn things, because they weren't part of the remasters, the ones where it has the picture of Eddie on the spine. My Dying Bride, not one of their best ones. They had a violin player on this one, I believe, who kind of sucked. Let me see. Let's give this a shot. If you are not familiar with My Dying Bride, Kate Stone, she was on violin. She wasn't very good, and keyboards. I just really didn't like her playing. If you have not listened to My Dying Bride, they are a doom metal band that started off as a death metal band, kind of like doom death kind of thing. And they've had a violin player most of the time. If not a violin player, a keyboard player. Line of Deathless Kings is a great album. Otherwise, check out like Gods of the Sun or Light at the End of the World is also really great. I hate these slipcase things. It's like, what's the point of it? It's the exact same thing. Opeth, Heritage. This is their first full-on prog rocky album with no death metal vocals. A lot of people don't like the fact that he doesn't do death metal vocals. I don't really care anymore, because, I don't know, it's time to move on from the death metal vocals for Opeth, and I think for a long time I didn't like these albums because I thought, well, if I wanted to listen to 70s prog, I would just listen to a 70s prog band, but I gave these a shot over the summer, and I really like this and the next two. This starts out really awesome, too. I saw them on this tour. They were still really great. The cool thing about this album is if you listen to it, pay attention to the drums. There are no pan. I don't think there's any panning on the drums. Everything's just straight up the center. It's very odd, but it sounds really cool. Everybody knows how much I like Voivod because I did a Voivod video, discography video. I really hate holding stuff like this. Anyway, this is the first one with Jason Newsted and the first one with Snake back. So always will be a cool CD in my eyes. Their newest album is fantastic. If you haven't checked out The Wake, it harkens back to like Dimension Hatros and Nothing Face. Aerosmith, Pump. Yes, I have all the Aerosmith stuff. I believe I have everything. What a great 10th album, Creatures of the Night by Kiss. I feel like I'm taking too long, so I'm going to go faster. Stryper. This is a band that I kind of let go on the wayside. I saw them on the original To Hell with the Devil tour, and I saw them on the 30th anniversary To Hell with the Devil tour, and after that I picked up all their stuff. The only thing I don't have is their newest one, Goddamn something, I can't remember. And More Hell to Pay is a pretty decent album. The follow-up to this one is actually better. Only a few more left. Van Halen, Balance, or Balance as I like to pronounce it, because me and my coworkers love to mispronounce things. Balance almost wasn't in my collection until a couple years ago when I went on a hair metal kick and bought every Van Halen album. Same with White Snake, Good to Be Bad. I have all the White Snake stuff. King's X. This one I thought I didn't have. Well, I thought I wouldn't be able to get to this one because this is the 10th one, and I didn't think I had the 9th one. But lo and behold, I did get that about like 6-7 months ago. I love King's X. I love really early King's X, especially up through Dogman. If you haven't listened to King's X, check them out. And the last one that I thought was kind of cool. This is the 10th studio album. It is the most current studio album by Pearl Jam. And I have only listened to this maybe twice. Weird bands that I thought I would have more stuff to. Motley Crue do not have 10 studio albums, nor do Soundgarden. So I thought that was interesting. Hopefully you like this video. If you see me through other people, subscribe. I never really say this stuff because I figure if you're going to subscribe, you're going to subscribe. Just let me know what you think of that. I think I've set the bar pretty high for the most amount of the highest amount of people with 10 studio albums by one band. So, oh, phone almost died there.